waves come and go, and we are pushed to grow. But we can see with our hearts there's more than the sum of its parts.
Ready to start?
でした。単にでした。Out.
Hi all.
I all. It's been
A long.
a long time.
It's been a long time.
I missed you. Missed you all.
Exclamation point. Done. Yeah, I missed you all too. So we don't have a really good reason why it's taken us so long to get this episode up. We recorded it back in January or February and just got busy. I was going to say I gave myself a really bad COVID haircut and was going to wait until it grew out a bit, which is partially true. I did give myself a bad haircut, but that's not why we delayed this.
It is not. It's not true.
It's not true. Okay. Done.
Your haircut. Haircut
Was
nice.
done. Done. Well, thank you for saying that it was not true in my haircut. No, the reality is just juggling time. I was applying for different contracts. Danny was getting used to some new activities. Yeah.
I totally accept responsibility for the today.
Done. Yeah, why is that?
I'm so not used to being busy.
Done. Well, Dan, I wouldn't say it's all your responsibility. This is a team effort, and I'm sure everyone understands being busy. But we're here now, and we are super excited to tell you a bit about this upcoming episode. So, Dan, would you like to introduce it?
Yeah. I'm so excited to share. I'm so excited to share. I'm so excited to share this interview with you.
Exclamation point. Done. So we interviewed our friend Melania Guerra. She and I went to graduate school together at Scripps Institution of Oceanography, and now she is back for more education. She's at the Princeton School for Public and International Affairs, getting her master's. And that just kind of speaks to the range of Melania's interests and experiences. Do you want to share a little more about that?
Totally. She's so amazing. amazing,
Mhm.
and as
Studied.
studied at
Outer space.
outer space and
Mhm.
to pause.
Mhm. Exclamation mark. Yes, she's been involved in projects related to outer space, the Arctic, and Antarctica. And beyond just the kind of cool factor of that, she's got a really great perspective on conservation and the, kind of the future of the environment and humanity. And she's then transitioning from the science side to more the policy diplomacy side. And I think she has some really beautiful and thought-provoking insights on this topic.
A-P-S-O-L-U-T-E. Absolutely.
Done. Absolutely. Besides her really fascinating work and interests, Melania is actually quite an old friend of Danny's. I was a roommate of hers back when I was in graduate school, doing so much fieldwork and travel that I was subletting at different friends' places whenever I was back in California. And that's how Danny and Melania met. And I just remember just the warmth with which she accepted Danny into the house. And I was at the time kind of nervous how people would interact with Danny, just having had bad experiences when we were growing up. And I remember I think he was over at my house one day and I had to shower, and I just told my roommates, oh, you know, Danny's here, he's just hanging out, I'll be in the shower, I'll be right out. And then when I came out, they were all three cooking together in the kitchen, just very merrily, really very happy. And it meant a lot to both of us, just the kind of unquestioning way in which Danny was welcomed.
I-E-S-S. I-R-E-M-E-M-P-E-R. Let's remember is
I remember.
It's so
Done? Yes, I remember it so fondly. So that's another reason why she was chosen as our guest for this episode. Is there anything else you want to tell our viewers, our audience about this?
I'm so grateful. So grateful that she took time to speak with us. Speak with us about her country, Costa Rica.
Yeah, completely. It was really nice to hear Melania speak a little bit about her deep admiration for her country and her vision for its future, as well as her thoughts on inclusion of more countries in the international realm.
She's an amazing. She's amazing. Represent representative of
Mhm.
of
Her
her
country.
country.
Done. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she is absolutely an amazing representative for her country and for the ocean. And I really enjoyed chatting with her, and she has such a beautiful, eloquent way of expressing her perspectives. And I think they're very important perspectives. But before we move on to the interview, we do have a little bit of self-promotion for you, which neither of us are particularly good at. Do you want to tell our viewers what this
Yes.
what this bit of self-promotion is about?
Okay. Well,
Well,
we have started
mhm. And online.
an online magazine,
Mhm.
a magazine called online magazine called Leo in Bloom.
Mhm. Exclamation point, done. You want to tell them more about it? Right. Oh, yeah, done. Okay. So yes, as Danny said, we started with our other sister, an online magazine called Leo in Blue. And it is centered on empathy and mindfulness and how that cuts across many diverse realms of life, many different lived experiences. So there's definitely overlap with what we talk about on the Ocean and Us podcast. There's also kind of a loose focus on the lived experiences of non-speaking or minimally speaking autistics. So Danny and his amazing peers, but we do try to make it really kind of cross boundaries and not just be any one niche, any one sector of people. So please check it out. And if you would like to submit anything, you can contact us on the contact form there.
Contact form.
Yeah, so we're really excited about it and hope you enjoy it. Anything else you want to say on that? Mhm.
I'm so proud. I'm so proud of it.
Mhm. Exclamation point, done. Yeah, I'm proud of it too. So that's the self-promotion, the self-promotion section over. Anything else you want to share with our audience before we finally move on to this long overdue interview?
I'm so glad. I'm so glad
Mhm.
I'm so glad we are posting. We're glad we are posting. We're glad we are posting this.
Mhm.
This
Mhm.
at
Yeah,
at
at
last.
exclamation point, done. Me too.
Me too.
And so when we interviewed Melania, she was enjoying the break between semesters at Princeton, and now she's in the throes of her final exams. So one last thing I'd like to say is good luck to you, Melania, on all of your final exams and everything that comes with it. And to our audience, we really hope you enjoy.
Yes.
Mhm. Then, you want to say? And enjoy.
Enjoyed.
All right.
Water and salt in the sea is also in you and me. The waves come and go, and we are pushed to grow. But we can see with our hearts there's more than the sum of its parts.
Let's go.
Ready to go, Danny? H-O-L, it. You want to say it?
Hola.
Hola. Qué bueno verte otra vez.
Qué bueno verte también. Want to say it? Qué
Qué bueno verte también.
Muy bien. Está excelente tu español.
He loves it. G-R-A.
Gracias.
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 Con mucho gusto.
How
Are
are
you?
you?
I am doing wonderful. I am very relaxed because this is my last week of vacation here at Princeton. I still don't have classes until next Monday.
That's
So
nice.
I am just going for walks in the woods and reading books that I want to read for fun. And as I told you, unpacking my new bed so that I have new furniture.
S-O-U-N-D-S.
Sounds lovely.
And of course, the loveliest part of my day is getting to see my friends like you.
Yay.
Yay! I-R-E-M-E-M-B-E-R.
I remember you well and your kindness.
Oh, I'm so glad you remember me. I also remember when I lived with Tara as my roommate, and you would come and visit and always look at our kitchen books. You love cooking books, especially the pictures, I think.
I-L-O-V-E.
I love it all.
Yeah. Yes.
I love everything that has to do with food too.
Yes.
So true.
So true.
So true.
S-O. So
So tell us about your main motivation.
My main motivation. So when I was little, I loved exploration. I loved people that went to really unique places like space and the bottom of the ocean. So I wanted to go to places like that too.
he's listening. He's just going for a little walk nearby.
Okay, perfect. So that's why I wanted to go to study the ocean and study the Arctic and the Antarctic and study space, because I think they are places that put us in a place, in an environment that is so different that we have to start thinking very differently than when we are at home. And when we think differently, we come up with solutions to big problems that are happening at home, and we start seeing things very differently. So I love to go to those kinds of places like the ocean and the Antarctic, because it forces you to come up with solutions that are very, very innovative and different.
S-O-C-O-O-L. Okay.
So good.
It is cool. It's very cool.
Get your policy program.
You want me to tell you about the policy program?
So how did you get to it? Yeah.
Oh, how did I get to it? Well, I left my academic job in 2017, And I was sure that I wanted to work more closely with people that make decisions at the really high levels. So I got a fellowship to work at the United Nations in New York. And when I was there, I realized that I needed to learn more about law and about diplomacy and about how to make regulations in different countries. So I decided that I wanted to study. And I talked to a friend who studied public policy in Princeton many years ago. And she recommended that I apply to this program. And I thought, there is no way they're going to take me. So I applied and I didn't tell anybody. So nobody knew that I had applied. And the day that I got the email, I was having dinner with my family and I screamed and nobody understood why I was screaming. And then I had to tell them, oh yeah, I have to tell you something. Because nobody knew that I had even applied.
That's funny. SOFUNNY.
So funny.
It was very funny. I had to explain a lot of things.
THAT.
That is great that you saw a need for good endorphin.
That is a really good appreciation. Yes. I think it is always so important to always learn new things, and studying and learning is not over when you finish with a degree, not even with a PhD. You can always keep learning more.
Yeah, good lesson. IABORITE. Danny asking the big questions. All right.
I should have studied for this interview.
I think this is going to be a tough one to answer, but I'm interested to hear what it is. Can you read it?
I'm so amazed by your diverse adventures. Which was your favorite?
My favorite. Okay, that's definitely a big question. Okay, so I think there are many ways to answer that. I think in terms of adventure and excitement, going to the Arctic for the first time, especially going to Greenland, was so special to me because it was the first time that I saw the Northern Lights, you know, the aurora in the sky. So seeing ice and icebergs and the dancing lights on top of your head was so different from anything that I grew up with that it really made me feel like I was one of those explorers that I had grown up admiring and looking up to. But I think in terms of adventures, when I think about my life, I think the biggest adventure has definitely been living outside of my home and going to a different country and having to start all over again in different cities and try to make new lives and build new circles of friends and new networks. And so every time I move to a new place, it feels like a new adventure and it feels like I can reinvent myself all over again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. A-N-D.
Wow. And how do you feel about your own country?
That's a really good question. It's really important, I think, once you go visit different places, that you compare to the good things you had back home. So when I look at my country, I am so impressed with how it made decisions that were very brave many years ago, like protect a lot of forest, protect a lot of land, put laws in place to make the environment a priority, and also the protection of people. We have healthcare that is universal for everybody for free. And we take a lot of pride in protecting people and nature. So when I visit other countries, I understand how much they admire my country and the authority it has for speaking about protection of people and in nature.
I wonder what it's like to come from a country like that.
Yes, I definitely feel very proud of about my country, but that doesn't mean we don't have many problems as well. We have issues that we have to, make decisions now, because all of those old decisions are starting to run their course, and we have to make new decisions. For example, we were very good about protecting forests, but we haven't been as good about protecting the ocean. So it is time now that we do the same thing that we did on land, that we do it now at sea.
All right, Dan. IAMSO.
So intuitive more about Costa Rica's first
Conservation.
Definitely, yes. And actually, today is a good day for that, because there is a new announcement by France and Costa Rica about a new project that they are launching to protect 30% of the oceans of both countries by 2030. So hopefully they can do it over the next 9 years, and they can put new laws to protect a big portion of the oceans of both countries.
Wow. So he's just doing these sticker puzzles that helps keep him calm and focused. So if
Awesome.
you notice, all right, Dan.
You like lobsters? Have you seen lobsters when you go snorkeling?
I don't think we have yet. Have you seen a lobster when we've been out there? Notyet. Not yet.
Not yet.
So,
Have to. I'm sure Tara knows, but you have to look in between the rocks, because they're normally hiding. They're very good at hiding.
yeah, we'll have to go lobster searching, not lobster hunting, but lobster searching next time. All right, hun. So that's ambitious but exciting. Are they linking, or is it just a coincidence that the two of them announced?
No, they are linking. So they are the heads of this. So there was this conference, and I haven't finished watching. It's still going on. It's the One Planet conference, I think it's called.
Okay.
And Costa Rica and France are the, I guess they're leading it. So they made this announcement, and I haven't finished reading or following up, but yeah.
Wow, that's exciting. WASCONServationToU.
What does marine conservancy mean to you?
Ooh, good question. That is almost a question for an exam. So marine conservation to me means that we have an ocean that regenerates more than what we extract. So that means that it is an ocean that it is constantly putting out more biodiversity, more services, more benefits than we are consuming from it, so that we can make sure that in the future, when there is probably more people, that they are also going to be able to benefit from the same healthy ocean that I would love to live with.
I think you passed that exam question. What do you think, Danny?
I think
Yes. APLU.
it's a plus.
A plus.
A plus.
Um,
Danny, can I ask you a question too?
yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I want to know, what is the earliest memory you remember of loving the ocean?
And it is from my early childhood in Japan.
Anything more to say about it? Yeah, get that lobster.
I was so entranced.
That is amazing. Both that you remember when you were so little, And also your vocabulary is so rich. I
Oh,
love how
it's
many words you have for saying all these things. I need to learn more vocabulary from you.
yeah, he's got a pretty brilliant way of expressing himself. A-N-D-Y-O-U. That's it?
And you?
For me, so my dad is from the province that is on the Pacific coast in Costa Rica. And we would go visit my, his family, his side of the family there. And I remember we would take this little ferry to cross over a strait to go visit some beaches. And I just imagine what it would be like to be on these ships and not see land and be further away. So I started reading about the people that had that job, like Jacques Cousteau, who was an oceanographer that visited Costa Rica a lot. And I started watching his TV show, and he would always show these shots of underwater hammerhead sharks, schools, and like all these big groups of fish. And I started dreaming of doing the same thing.
That's pretty cool.
I hope someday you can visit Costa Rica too. I can show you the Costa Rican ocean.
I would have to.
Perfect.
So I have a question is, your experience is so diverse, as Danny mentioned, from, I don't even know what you were doing when you mentioned you're kind of studying outer space.
Yes. So my undergrad is in mechanical engineering, and I always thought that I wanted to apply it to space. So after undergrad, I got to do an internship for 1 year at NASA. I was at Johnson Space Center, and I was working for an astronaut who had a lab, and he was building a rocket that is made out of plasma. So instead of using fuel, it uses plasma. And I was in charge of the thermodynamics of the rocket. And while I was there, I met another astronaut who was a graduate of Scripps. So Megan MacArthur.
Okay.
She was also an oceanographer, and she told me about the many ways in which her practice and her training as an oceanographer, being in ships and being in these remote environments and having to do like extreme teamwork with people that you are, in close space with, how that prepared her really well for being a good candidate as an astronaut. And it's funny because that's the same thing that Jessica Meir eventually also, she leveraged that kind of experience. So I started seeing that, that I didn't need to put all my eggs in one basket and just dream of being an astronaut, that I could check those boxes and I could satisfy that thirst for adventure with something that was more likely, which is to do oceanography. So then I switched and went to Scripps.
That's so cool. I never knew that story. I'm glad to have learned it.
So I still dream of one day maybe going to space, but even if that doesn't happen, I feel like all my adventures on ships have been very similar to that same sense of wonder and, extreme adventures.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and so
and so many people that United States have so much to
The ocean.
Exactly. Yes. There, it's right here in our planet. And sometimes we dedicate more energy to thinking about what is outside of our planet. So I think we have to balance out our curiosity for space with our interest and our benefits in understanding our planet better. So I think we have to do both things. And many times studying space helps us understand Earth as well. And sometimes when we study our ocean, we can understand the oceans of other places, like the moons of Europa in Jupiter. They have oceans too, and Titan is a moon of Saturn and has lakes. So when we understand the lakes and the oceans here, we understand the ones that are there, and maybe if there's life too.
That's so cool. I actually didn't know there were oceans and lakes on those moons.
Yeah, so Europa has oceans. under a big, thick layer of ice, and it has geysers, so it like spouts out water. And
Yeah.
Titan has lakes that are made of methane instead of water. So methane rains in a liquid form and forms lakes in Titan.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So cool. B-E-A-U-T-I.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful, yeah.
Are you upset about our planet?
Good question. So I am very sure that the planet is okay. So the planet is going to survive with or without us. So I have no doubt and no questions that the planet can regenerate and it's going to keep going many, many billions of years forward. I am a little more worried about people. So nature doesn't need people, but people do need nature. So that is where I am not hopeful, but I am definitely very engaged. I think in order to have hope, you have to work. And when you work hard and you surround yourself with people that are working as hard and like as interested in making a difference and making a change, that is where you start seeing that things are moving forward and we are actually making progress. So that gives me hope that the new generations and the people that are coming behind us are learning really good lessons from the things that the science that we are producing, and are learning to make better decisions too. So I am hopeful for the planet, and I am also very motivated to make sure that people are going to be healthy and sustainable and resilient and happy in the future too.
I love that answer. I think that's a unique angle that a lot of conservationists wouldn't take, but it makes perfect sense to me. So I think I like that kind of human focused, because conservation is essentially a human endeavor.
Right.
Awesome. And what is your third word in that O?
That is a good question. So I always like to say that when I was at Scripps, I studied underwater acoustics. So what that means is that we listen to the sounds of animals and to the sounds of processes underwater, like earthquakes or waves, and also the human noises underwater, like ships and exploration of oil. So I used to listen basically to the voices of the ocean. And now what I want to do is I want to be the voice of the ocean. So instead of just listening, I want to speak for the ocean. So when you go to a place like the United Nations, every country has an ambassador, every country has one chair, and the ocean that is 2/3 of the planet doesn't have a chair there. It doesn't have a seat at those big decision-making tables. So for my desired role in the future, I want to be like an ambassador for the ocean. And that means getting to meet with these countries and getting to meet with these people that make decisions and tell them all the fascinating things that the science of the ocean knows and letting them make better decisions with that information.
I think that's, first of all, a very important goal. And also you expressed it really beautifully.
In terms of an actual job position, I don't know what that is called.
Your business card, ambassador for the ocean. ILOVEIT.
You can speak about English in conservation at international levels.
That is wow, I love that question. So I think I can tell you a little bit about the experience of the ship that I went to Antarctica with 100 women of all over the world. And we were all scientists, and we were going on this program called Homeward Bound that brings scientists to Antarctica to train us on leadership capacities and abilities. And it wants to do it because so many of the people that make decisions right now in the world are men. And normally they come from the United States or from Europe, but very few of them are women. Very few of them are from Latin America. Very few are from Africa or from Asia. So definitely inclusion and diversity are two topics that we have to push, not only in conservation, but in all the decisions that we have to make as a global society. So, for example, now for the pandemic, it is really important that we listen to communities and people in vulnerable areas, even in the United States, right? Like African Americans or Hispanics are also some of the populations that are more at risk. The same thing with climate change. And many times, these are the people that are least to blame for the problem. So, for example, in climate change, these are people that don't put a lot of carbon dioxide in the air. They don't have a lot of high emissions. They don't drive cars. They don't use a lot of energy. So it is really important to talk about not just diversity and inclusion, but also about justice, right? So who is to blame for the problem and who is paying for the consequences? So when you bring these new voices at the table, then you start really having a dialogue and really having a conversation about who owes a bigger chunk of the responsibility for the problem and who has to pay for making it better. So it is a problem that we still have. It is definitely something that we have not resolved. But there are programs like this one when I went to Antarctica that give me hope that when we get together and we build like a coalition with other women that have the same issues, trying to access these tables where the decisions are made, that we can start like building force and try to support each other so that we start opening spaces for all the important things we have to say.
Yeah, very well put. I am
In awe of your thoughts.
Thank you very much. I am in awe of yours as well.
You are so inspiring to me.
Oh, thank you, Danny. You are inspiring too. Just seeing how much progress you have made since I last saw you almost 10 years ago. I am like really, really impressed and really inspired to put all my best efforts to make sure that the thoughts that you have and the energy that you have, I can channel that to other people so that it gets to more people and people act faster.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I know it means so much to you, Danny, that people are finally able to hear your voice. So thank you, Melania. That's meaningful. Yes, I am.
Yes, I'm so grateful. One more question.
Perfect. Give me your question.
What is your?
Sorry, you have.
You have so much amazing experience. What is your message to those of us who love the ocean?
My message. My message is that I wish people could connect more things that they do every day back to how it connects to the ocean. For example, I always tell people that I used to study the Arctic Ocean, so far away from Costa Rica, for example, and the noise underwater and how much louder and noisy it was getting. And they never connected that every time they use electricity, for example, it connects to the petroleum and the oil that is being extracted from Alaska and generates noise when they do exploration and extraction. Or when they buy a lot of things that come from China, things that they don't really need, they came on a ship that uses a propeller that makes noise and also makes the ocean louder. So if we start seeing all of our actions and connecting them back to some impact in the ocean, then we start to feel the ocean a lot closer to us. And we start feeling like the solutions are also in our hands. We can start buying things that are sourced locally, and we can push for the energy and the electricity close to our home to be coming from reusable and renewable sources. So there are many things that we can do once we see the problems, then we can start acting on the solutions as well. So my message would be, start thinking back to connect all the dots. And when you get to the very origin, maybe the ocean is at the source, not just of the problems, but also of the solutions and also of the benefits. When we breathe, when we eat, if we think back to how it connects to the ocean, then we start to feel like the ocean is ours. And at the end, the ocean belongs to everybody, right? It's not just this area that is international and that has no owner. It's actually all of ours. So it is also our responsibility to take care of it. So we have to know how we are connected to it.
Yeah, I think that's a very important message. BEAUTIFUL.
Beautiful. And I will start doing that immediately.
Yeah, we can work on it together, buddy.
That's awesome. I'm sure your sister can teach you many things about how everything around us is somehow connected to the ocean.
Yeah, it can be a little overwhelming to trace back the connections, but that doesn't mean, that's even more reason to pay attention to it, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's such a good message. And Melania, I really appreciate your perspective. We never really talked about this, but your perspective on conservation is so, I think it's so balanced, like coming from where I do, where the focus has been on charismatic megafauna conservation. People often forget about humans.
Mhm.
And they also forget that the reason we want to conserve these animals is because of our own human values. And so it was really refreshing to hear your experience has been so diverse, but coming from more of a physical sciences place, and you have such a better perspective on the human side than those who are often animal huggers. It was really cool to hear your thoughts on this. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. No, like you're saying, I don't have a background in ecology or conservation science. So everything that I have learned along the way has been through contact and interaction with people like you. So I just build my own perspectives on like amazing scientists that I surround myself with.
Yeah, fabulous. And it was so nice to see you. It's been such a long time.
And I love that now we share the connection of Princeton too.
Yes, I was miserable in the winters, I'll be honest, but it's so beautiful here.
Oh, I wish the winter was miserable, but it's just warm and okay.
Oh, is it now? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had that one big snowstorm right before Christmas, and the snow stayed for like 5 or 6 days.
Oh,
But
really?
then it's been gone since. And yeah.
Oh, one of my years
We've
there.
been in the
was-
40s.
What? In the 40s? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. It's kind of like we had a super warm summer here and all the kelp was dying, but the water temperatures were like high 60s, 70s. And I was like, I should be unhappy about this, but it's also nice to be warm.
No, I remember that everybody was complaining about the foul smell around the Hoya shores, just because all the kelp was decomposing. Yeah.
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 So very happy to talk with you.
I am so happy too. And it really is amazing to get to know you, like how deep you are, almost like an ocean, right? You have all this depth to yourself that we couldn't access before because you didn't have this tool. So now that we have the right instrument, it's like a science, right?
Danny,
now we have the right
ocean.
instrument to get to the depths of your ocean. So I am very proud of you, Danny, and I am so impressed with Tara also. She has put so much energy and so much work into getting to know you and making this podcast and contacting me. So I am very honored that I was one of the guests.
Wow, I love it so much. Thank you and take care.
Yeah, take care over there, Melania. Enjoy the rest of your vacation, staycation.
Thank you so much. And I love you guys. And I can't wait to follow more of your podcasts.
Yeah, love you too. Take care.
Bye.
You want to end?
Bye, Danny.
Bye. And he has to do the end. I can't do it. End meeting for all.
To share it in kind. What we can see with our hearts is more than the sum of its parts. What we can see with our hearts is more than the sum of its parts.